your personal inspiration. Who or what inspired you to choose a career in costume design?
When I was a little girl, I liked to play dress up with my Barbie dolls, and my Barbies had the largest wardrobe of anyone ever.
I went to college on an acting scholarship, but for my acting scholarship, the college said you have to do hours, service hours for this money, and you can choose where you do it. And they gave me like 3 choices, and I said, okay, well, I'll do it in the costume shop. That sounds fine.
So I've always been interested in theater since I was small. I've loved movie musicals, that sort of thing.
So I've always been into sewing. I started sewing. My grandmother taught me how to sew when I was younger. And then in high school, I took actual classes and I always really liked it.
In high school and starting to think about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, when your guidance counselor asks, what are you going to go to college for? It was easier for me to eliminate all of the things that I didn't want to do because I didn't like math or science and I wasn't very good at them. So it sort of came down to English or theater, and theater seemed more fun.
I was really involved in high school theater, and I went to college thinking I was going to teach high schools theater programs. And I was a freshman in college and had to take a practicum class, which was sort of our intro to the department, where they kind of hammered etiquette and how to behave. And it also required us to run a crew.
So I started going to the costume shop 2 days a week, and then 2 days a week became 3 days a week, and then it became 4 days a week, and then it became my evenings on Saturdays.
And I was doing theater for a while in middle school and high school. So then when I got into college, I actually was a chemistry major, but my work study was in the costume shop because they had just built a brand new costume shop.
I started working in the costume shop because I knew how to sew, and my love for costume design was born then, and I knew it was what I wanted to do forever.
It gave us some choice in what we signed up for, and the only thing I thought I had any comparable skills in was the costume crew, because I knew how to take care of clothing. I knew how to press and steam.
I got my first job, and my first paying theater job when I was 20 at the Opera Theater St. Louis, running wardrobe. And I was like, I love this. Like, I love this.
The costume supervisor came and asked me, like, hey, would you ever be interested in designing a show? I have this little show that I think would be good for a student if you want to, try it out. And so I was like, cool, yeah, why not? Sure.
I got my degree, and I knew that I didn't have enough information. Like, I just knew that if I were to go and try to be a costume professional with that training, I don't think I would have succeeded. So I went to graduate school.
I really loved running wardrobe. Because I was someone who walked in with some sort of competence and equivalent skills, they made me the lead dresser on that show.
So then I designed my first show when I was a sophomore in college, and I was like, oh, I really like this. This is fun. I get to really control the creative process and really get to play and just try new things.
I went to design school, and I knew after I got done with design school that this was the job for me.
Meanwhile, my costume shop manager, Carrie Beth Rust, she's still at Illinois State University. She had her eye on me. She was like, this one can do this.
I moved to Chicago, and then I worked for the Lyric Opera for a couple of years. And then I had a baby. I was working in a shop and I was using my degree, but the work-life balance of my life at that time was not great.
I had an internship that summer at the Illinois Shakespeare Festival, and internship money is not great. And I realized that if I could do it for pennies an hour, and still love it, then maybe I should consider it as a career.
And a colleague from graduate school said, I have a director friend who's looking for a designer for these 2 shows. Would you be interested? And it meant that I would have to quit my job as at the Lyric as a stitcher or wardrobe person there.
My senior year, I switched my major and became a theater major and went and started costume designing. And I've been professionally doing it for over 10 years now.
Took a leap and said yes. And that year sort of was the catalyst of me just being a freelance designer full time. And my son was 3 and he turned 13 this year. So it's been 10 years of me just being a freelance designer.
In terms of making clothing as well, because I'm both a designer and a technician, I would often take fabric and just sort of cut it and tie it onto Barbie until it looked the way I wanted to. So I was draping fabrics in that way.
That was the path. It just sort of fell into place for me when I sort of fit. I was like, this is where I fit. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I feel happiest.
But looking back, like all of the things I've collected over my life, all of the things I was interested in, all the times I wanted to learn to sew or make things, or, the dolls I wanted were ones in Victorian clothing, so I have always loved the storytelling of past and what we can learn about ourselves in the present by looking back.